In just 30 seconds, Marcus will be live with another edition of things he learned in rehab to help you stay sober. Get ready for another edition of
Learned that in rehab.
Hey guys, Marcus here. We are testing out a different camera setup. So let me know if the audio is sounding good. If the audio sounds good, let me know. This is a new microphone that I just got yesterday, and we'll make sure that you can see me also. So if you can see me and hear me, let me know by typing something in the box. And I'm going to be bringing up this little live streaming console here so I can see what is going on. Okay, cool. And feel free to type something in the box if you can hear me. I want to make sure you can, because this is going to be an important call where we are going to be talking about detox and withdrawal symptoms. So this webinar, or this live cast, or whatever you want to call it, hangout, is going to be all about alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Okay? Very important, because alcohol withdrawal symptoms are something that a lot of people go through when dealing with alcohol and drinking too heavily and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these different things here, and I'll try not to do too many camera angles, but we'll get the show on the road and get this thing going. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. What I want to do is I want to talk to you about some of the different symptoms that people have when they are going through withdrawal. And I'm going to go ahead and shut this door over here because it is getting kind of windy. And we don't want it to bash back and forth. So let's talk about these. Now, if you are a heavy drinker, or you've had heavy drinking in your life, then what we want to look at is we want to look at the things that you can expect. Now, for me, I was drinking quite a bit at the height. I was living on probably about 30 beers a day. Good amount beer too, like 7% or something like that, and hard drinks at night. So my body was acclimated to having a lot. So what happens is your body gets used to the amount that you have, whether it's 7 a day, whether it's 30 a day, whatever it is you're having, right? Your body gets used to it. So it gets acclimated and it gets used to having this amount in your system. So when you take it away, you're going to experience these withdrawal symptoms. And this happens a lot. These are things that can plague us. These are things that lead to death, lead to seizures, lead to DTs or delirium tremens and things like that. Hallucinations and stuff like that. So we want to watch out. The number one thing that you want to watch for is if you're the kind of person that's like, I'm going to go cold turkey and quit this drinking thing on my own, which is kind of how I was. And before I went into recovery, before I got into rehab, I had tried to quit on my own many different times, right? There was a period of about 3 years where I went through, and my goal was to quit drinking. And sometimes I was able to do it. Sometimes I was able to go 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. So that's like 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days without drinking. And 21 days kind of seemed to be my goal, seemed to be like what I was able to do, what I was able to keep at a time, right? And you might be saying, well, that's not that much time. And true, that's not. Now, a lot of people say that it takes 21 days to break or make a habit, okay? Now, in my case, alcohol was embedded in my brain so much, and it was tied to so many things. It was tied to anxiety, getting rid of anxiety. It was tied to, I need to get some coffee. It was tied to all kinds of things, right? Anxiety, working, emotional well-being and things like that. So when I took it away, whether it was for a couple of days, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, right, it was very difficult to get rid of. And a lot of people say, as I mentioned before, that it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. Now, that doesn't mean that if you can quit drinking for 21 days, you're cured. Not at all. As you've seen, I went through this many times, probably 12 or 13 different times where I had tried to get sober and I was able to go a little bit of time. But then something happened in my life that made me go back and made me have to drink again. And what it is it's this withdrawal symptom. Okay? What happens is, as alcoholics, we get used to something called comfort. Okay? Comfort is when you feel comfortable, right? Right now, when you're not drinking, you might not feel that comfortable. All right? That is because your body is lacking something and your mind is used to something. Now, what we want to do is we want to talk about the dangers of what happens when someone goes through withdrawal. Because what's happening is your body is used to having something. Just like if you are used to exercising and all of a sudden you stop, or you're used to eating a bunch of sugar and all of a sudden you stop, right? Your body is going to start to crave that thing that you stopped. Now, the same thing is happening with alcohol, although there's different things that happen in your mind, different things that happen in your body, and a lot of medical stuff that's going on. My number one advice is don't go cold turkey. If you're going to detox, stop messing around, go to the hospital. This stuff can be deadly, right? I know you might feel fine. I know you might feel like everything's okay, but this can be deadly, and the best thing to do is get yourself some help. Get yourself to a hospital, get yourself to a rehab that supports detox and stuff like that, and get some help. Because some of the things that you can deal with, and some of the things that I dealt with are, let's see here, you could have like feelings of jumpiness, nervousness, anxiety. Anxiety is high. A lot of people say, Marcus, why is anxiety so high the day after I drink or the morning after I start drinking? Well, the anxiety is high because what's happening is this is depleted, right? The amount that you have in your body has now depleted and you're now lacking it. So what happens is your body gets used to things, right? Over time, the way that our bodies evolve and the way that things happen is we go along a curve, right? It's like you go along and you start having 1 drink a day and that becomes the norm, right? Here's your norm. You're like, okay, I have 1 per day, and my body's used to it. Okay, same thing with any kind of substance, right? And we say we're used to it. And then what happens is your body starts to get used to the 1 a day, and it gets acclimated to the 1 a day. So then you say, well, I'm not getting the same effects that I got before. So now you need 2 a day or 3 a day or whatever it is. And over time, your body starts to get normalized. And what's happening is your body is normalizing the substance so that it takes more of it to get the desired result, right? So down here, you might have felt anxious. You might say, well, I was a little anxious in situations. I was probably like a 1 or 2 at the anxiety level. Okay, and then you drink and you're like, wow, hey, that's pretty cool. Now I'm like a 0 to a 1, right? And then over time, this drops, and now you are back at a 1 to 2. But you have to drink to get the 1 to the 2. So in order to get back to the lower levels, you have to have more, and you have to have more, and you have to have more, and you have to have more. And over time, just like happened with me over a course of years of heavy drinking, my body was so acclimated to it, I had to consume massive quantities just to feel normal. Okay, what's happening here is your body and your mind are getting used to a certain amount. Now, when you take that away, your anxiety levels are going to go off the chart. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel jittery. If you suffer from obsessive compulsive thoughts or unwanted thoughts, right? These are going to go really, really high because of the fact that you have been, I hate the term, but self-medicating, right? They call it self-medicating, although alcohol is not self-medicating. It's just something that doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work at all. So you got the anxiety, you got the feelings of shakiness, you have irritability. People are irritable, angry, Okay, lots of energy. For me, when I stopped drinking, even if it was for the 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, I had tons and tons of energy. I felt like I could just run across the whole country in like 5 minutes. It felt like I was going crazy and stuff like that. You also have mild to moderate physical stuff. You have bad dreams. A lot of times bad dreams occur. Nausea and vomiting, these are things that happen in the more bigger category. So you have this category here where is mild withdrawal. You have category over here which is, what do you call it? I guess it would be moderate. And then you have severe. Okay, severe is when you have like coma, death, DT, right? DT can also be in moderate and things like that. But what happens, and what happened with me, is I started to hear things, I started to see things, I didn't feel right, I was really sweaty and really anxious and really nervy and jittery, skin was clammy, abnormal movements, right? You might be unable to control the way that you move and things like that. You could also have a state of confusion. Confusion is a very big one. When you're dealing with confusion, you don't know where you're at. You don't know what's going on. You can never seem to focus on something, right? Going through alcohol withdrawal sucks. That's why I highly recommend you go to a doctor, you get some assistance with it, because not only is it deadly, but it's very difficult to go through, and it's going to mess with your mind in a way that you don't want to be alone for, right? You want to have the support that you can get. You want to be able to have people there that know this, that have been through this, and not just like an uncle who quit drinking 20 years ago. No, you need like a professional in like a doctor coat kind of deal at the doctor, not just a coat. Make sure it's an actual doctor. You can also have headaches. Headaches are huge. Headaches come along because obviously you're depleting, right? You're depleting. You're used to having so much of this, you don't remember feeling normal, right? You don't know what it's like to feel normal. You don't remember what it's like to feel normal because you've been living with this amount for so long, whether it's 1 a day, 10 a day, 50 a day, or whatever it is. You've been living with this so long that you don't recognize what it's like to feel normal. And also, what happens is living with this much, you're kind of like in a daze. You're kind of like numbing yourself to all the things that you feel. So you feel all these things normally. Like, remember, you feel these things normally. You're going throughout your day. It's okay. You can live with it. But what happens is when you pour alcohol on top of it, you can no longer stand it, right? Your tolerance level for irritation, your tolerance level for feeling anxious, your tolerance level for these things goes way down, and you have to have a lot of alcohol to get past it. And that's when all this stuff happens, right? These things are going to happen. You'll have confusion, you'll get shaky. My anxiety was off the chart. We also have, let's see what else we have. Tremor of the hands. That was a big one. My hands trembled like crazy when I was trying to detox from alcohol. I remember sometimes it was all I could do. Like my coffee was spilling out of my cup. It was so bad. Rapid heart rate. You get pale. Sleeping difficulty, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, sweating with the palms, a lot of sweating and in your face and everything like that. It's trying to get this out. Difficulty thinking clearly, emotional volatility, rapid mood swings, and different things like this, right? So these are the things that we look at, and these are the things that we go through when dealing with detox. Now, detox might seem crazy. I know a lot of people who are on various things, they dread detox. Now, alcohol detox is not something that's talked about a lot. Right? A lot of people talk about heroin detox and cocaine detox and different things like that, and those are bad. Alcohol is bad as well, and a lot of these things can be deadly. Now, what we want to do is we want to look at this and say, what is the danger with withdrawal? The danger with withdrawal is death. That's why you need to get to someone who knows what's going on. But you might be at the point where you're fearing detox. You might be looking videos up on Google saying, how do I detox? How bad is it going to be? Is it worth it? Right? For me, sometimes I would look at the detox and I'd get through a few days and I'd start to shake and feel like garbage. And my brain knew the way to get rid of that was to fill up with alcohol again, right? And it became a cycle, and a big cycle. And what happens is the more you fill up, the more accustomed you get to that as a solution. So what we want to do is, number one, get some help. Number two, we want to figure out how we can get sober for the period of time to get past this, because the withdrawal period isn't that long in the grand scheme of things. When I look back, I prolonged it by continuing drinking. So what I did is I had this line here where I was trying to get sober. I'd go 1 week, and boom, I couldn't handle it, so I drank again. And then I have to go 1 week or maybe 2 weeks, and boom, I drink again because I couldn't handle it. And then maybe I go 3 weeks and I drink again because I couldn't handle it, or I couldn't handle something in my life, or whatever it was. And this stuff just prolonged it and prolonged it. Instead of just detoxing one time for 10 days or 14 days or however long it takes to start to feel normal, right? We don't really start feeling normal for a long time. But instead of just the 14 days, I was prolonging it. So over the course of trying to get sober throughout the year, I was probably having anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks of straight hell of trying to detox, right? Just because I was going back. And what we want to do is we want to get the help that we need, one, so that our health stuff doesn't get severe, right? We don't want to deal with that. That's terrible. But we want to get this stuff so that we can stay sober, right? And this is what I see so often with people who go and they relapse, and they have a chronic relapse pattern where they're always relapsing, and they're always in recovery, and they're always miserable, and they're always not liking their life. This is because we're looking at this and we're saying, well, is it an option, and is it something that I can deal with? And when you live in this cycle, things get crazy. So what we want to take away from this video, it'll make it a short little recording for you to talk about these symptoms and detoxing and alcohol withdrawal and the dangers. And we want to talk to you about recovery. So if you like this video, if you like understanding how this stuff happens and what it was like for me, I'll talk a little bit about what it was like for me. So hopefully we have the front camera on, and I'll bring this seat over here, and we'll talk about what it was like for me. So for me, when I was detoxing, I was at a period where I had been drinking extremely heavy for several years, and the wind is picking up for us, but I had been drinking really heavy for several years. I was miserable. I was depressed. I didn't want to live anymore. And on top of that, I had all these things with this alcohol problem. And I didn't realize that the alcohol was causing a lot of my problems. I thought that the alcohol was helping, right? I had 3 therapists, and all 3 of them said, well, you're self-medicating. And when they said that to me, I was like, well, is that a bad thing? Right? I'm self-medicating. So I guess that's better than like the alternative, which is some kind of weird drug or something like that that you're going to give me, right? And I didn't think alcohol was that bad. And I thought for anxiety it was really helping. I thought for depression it was helping. But what I realized is that when I stripped everything away, the alcohol was actually causing this stuff. When I would be fine, I would drink, and it would send my thought process through a loop that would send it to depression, right? It's like the video that I talked about where you have the difference between the content of your mind, right? The content of your mind is like what I'm talking to you about, the withdrawal and the whatever it is you're thinking about. Now, on the other hand, we have the working of the mind, which is how your mind works. Like if you take someone who's OCD or obsessive compulsive, right, that's the way that their mind works. It doesn't matter what the content is. It doesn't matter what they're obsessing about. The fact is they're prone to obsessing about it. Now, what happens is when you introduce alcohol into the equation, it's going to affect the working of your mind. So no matter what it is, no matter how happy I am, if I drink, it affects the working of my mind and sends me to depression. If I drink, it takes and makes the anxiety worse over time because it's actually craving itself, right? Alcohol makes itself crave itself, if that's the correct way to say it, but it makes you crave it more, and it makes you crave it more because it's dampening the different things that are happening, right? You have anxiety, and all of a sudden it goes away, and you feel good, and you're like, wait, this alcohol thing seems to be working. But once it starts to wear off, or once you get back to normal, or if you want to call it normal, but once you get back to the base level, the anxiety comes back tenfold. And now you have to drink more, and pretty soon you have to drink around the clock, and pretty soon you don't realize how much you've had, and you don't realize how bad it's gotten, and you don't realize what's going to happen when you try to detox and when you try to withdraw. Now, what I've done is I've set up some tips for you on detox, withdrawal, rehab, and stuff like that over at talksober.com/help. That's talksober.com/help. There's some resources you can look at, some different things you can check into to help deal with this, right? Because I don't want something bad to happen to you. I don't want you to have to go through stuff that I went through or worse. I've had lots of friends who've gone through worse, and this isn't something to mess around with. So what we want to do is we want to talk about what to expect. A lot of people think that it's just going to be a walk in the park with jumpiness and nerviness and a little agitation or whatever, but it ends up being a lot worse. And, you know, worst case scenario, a lot of people end up in hospitals. I believe that alcohol is one of the biggest causes of death that doesn't need to be, that's in our society, right? It's something that causes death, but these are premature deaths. They're not deaths that were supposed to happen, other than the fact that alcohol was involved. And I don't want you to be a statistic. I want you to get the help that you need, and I want you to realize what's going to go on so that you're prepared for it. One of the reasons that I had such a hard time getting sober is that I wasn't prepared for it. No matter where I went, no one could give me a straight answer of, hey, this is what to expect, this is what to do. And I kind of had to figure it out on my own. I had the rehab people to help me and things like that, which was good. Highly recommended. Again, you can see my resources there at talksober.com/help. I think it's up on the screen somewhere. But what I want you to do is I want you to be ready for it. The best way to deal with this is to be educated about it and to be smart about it. Okay, you might be going through saying everyone drinks, whatever, you know, but it's not whatever. The fact of the matter is you're watching this video because you have a problem or someone you know has a problem. And the key is to get ahead of it with information, right? We don't live in the 20s anymore where they don't know what's going on. A lot of times they do know what's going on. And what's going on is your body has been filled with this poison called alcohol that's socially acceptable. And now that this is not going to be in your system, or if it's not in your system, now your body is bringing up all these withdrawal symptoms to scream and yell and say, this is what I need, this is what I have to have. And it's a big problem because, you know, your body is used to it. Just like if you're detoxing. I remember I detoxed from Zoloft once, and I had these brain zap things, or just like twitch in my brain. Another thing to talk to your doctor about if you're going cold turkey, which I never recommend cold turkey. I recommend go to a doctor and say, this is what I want to do. Very important, right? Because this stuff can mess with you. But when I was dealing with those detoxes, it was very difficult. And all my body and all my brain could think is take another pill, you'll be fine. Or when I was detoxing from drinking, take another drink, you'll be fine. But as we saw, it's going to send you back through this loop. So what I would highly urge you to do is seek some medical attention, get some treatment, and then come back and watch these videos, and we'll help you learn to live a sober life. Because even if you detox, even if you just detox for, you know, a couple weeks or a month or whatever, that's the first part of the journey, right? The first part of the journey was in rehab. And I remember in rehab, it was like, okay, I stayed sober 30 days, but there was no alcohol there. So it wasn't really that big of a feat. And I have the rest of my life to live. And I've been training myself for years that alcohol is the go-to solution. And for the last 3 years, I've trained myself the other way, and it is no longer a solution that I care to indulge in because I realize that it's going to do all this stuff. And if it's difficult for you to see a happy, fulfilling life at the end of the bottle, at the end of drinking, right, when you stop drinking and get sober, then what I want you to do is I want you to check out this channel, because I didn't see that either. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see anything. All I saw was either keep drinking into oblivion or, you know, end my life or something like that. I didn't see that life could be good. I didn't see that there was a way out. But I got to tell you, there is a way out. And the way out starts with getting some help. And a lot of people have a problem with asking for help, but that's just silly, right? Asking for help is something that we all can do. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. It's a sign of strength in saying, I care enough to ask for things that I need. I understand that I don't have all the answers, right? That was the most freeing thing in my life, is understanding, hey, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the solutions. I'm learning just like you. And when you're able to say that, everything's freed up and you're able to ask for help. Just like if you were to have some disease or something like that, right? You would ask for help. You wouldn't be like, I'm weak for needing cancer treatment. That would be silly, right? Same kind of thing here. And whether it's a disease or not, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I know that it causes dis-ease in your mind and dis-ease in your body. And we'll make a video about that as well. But I know that it is causing you trouble, and I know that you do need to get help with it, as I did, right? And that's the thing you got to look at. Forget about what everything means. Forget about, oh, when I admit I'm an alcoholic, it means this. Or when I admit I'm depressed, it means this. Or when I admit I need help, it means this. Forget about what things mean, and forget about what you think people are going to think, say, do, whatever, right? I had I still have a pretty successful business, and a lot of the people, hundreds of thousands of people found out I was an alcoholic, and they actually were pretty happy that I was able to get the help that I needed. It wasn't a sign of weakness and strength or anything like that. It just is what it is. So accept what is now. Accept, hey, these withdrawal symptoms are going to happen, and these withdrawal symptoms can be deadly, so I might as well get help for them. And remember that your world can change for the better just as it changes for the worse in the drop of a hat. And you can get the help you need. And subscribe to my videos. If you like this stuff, we're here every Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, live. I do videos throughout the week. But if you want the live ones, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click the little, there's like a little bell thing. It's on the YouTube when you're logged in, and it'll give you the updates or something like that. Find the bell. It's somewhere on there. But make sure you subscribe, and, put in the comments what videos you want to see. If there's a certain video or topic you want to see, let's help each other out. The whole goal of this channel, the whole goal of me doing this, is to help everyone out together. We're all here to help each other. We're all going through this journey, and sometimes we hit a roadblock, and we need to listen to other people who have traveled that journey before. And that's why we're here. So subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't fuck around with alcohol detox and withdrawal. Go get some help. Don't mess around with this stuff. I know it seems fun and silly and cute to go drink, right? That's how our society is. It's like, oh, look at those college kids getting wasted. But, occasionally, and more often than not, a lot of people die from this stuff. It literally is poison. There's another video on my channel called Alcohol Hypnosis that talks about that. And I didn't believe it either. And it's difficult to believe because there's millions and billions of dollars worth of advertising telling you the opposite. Which is very, very wrong. So, get some help. I hope you enjoyed my rambling, my rant. Alcohol detox for me was very difficult. Sometimes it seemed fine. Sometimes I was like, okay, I'm a little jittery, but hey, I'm productive and I'm getting things done and I have energy. But the fact of the matter is this stuff was right on the bottom of it. Right? I was teetering on that stuff, and I could have landed in the hospital or in the grave any minute because this stuff is dangerous. So get some help. Go to talksober.com/help. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. I had fun hanging out with you today.